Look at this! Arapa on a fly. This thing...
The Amazon rainforest is among, if not the most mysterious location on Earth, about which we know surprisingly little. Because of its density and the dangers it contains, it is one of the few places on Earth that we cannot openly and easily travel through. This, in addition to the widespread devastation that surrounds it, contributes to its mystique as one of the world's most mysterious locations. Yes, there are monsters in the rainforest, and they can be any size, shape, or terrifying. Join us as we reveal 20 largest Amazon monsters ever discovered. Number 20. The Harpy Eagle. Even if birds aren't exactly the most pressing environmental concern in the Amazon, it's worth noting that there are plenty of them if you know where to search. Not only that, but the Harpy Eagle is one of several exotic, plain-looking birds. Another top predator native to the Amazon, this eagle is one of the biggest on the planet. They can swoop down from the sky, grab their victim with their talons, and then disappear before the victim knows what's happening. The enormous talons are capable of applying pressure and force equal to several hundred kilograms, which can break the bones of its victim and kill them instantaneously. So, it's definitely something they can do. The fact that they live quite lengthy lives is probably the most surprising thing about them. Their reputed 35-year lifespan makes them an ever-present danger in the Amazon. They aren't a major concern for people, unfortunately. Number 19. The Amazonian Manatee. This kind of beast probably wasn't what you were hoping to see on the list. Even if most people wouldn't think of an Amazonian manatee as a monster, you can't deny that it's a big fish that has gotten unwanted attention and is now in danger of extinction. Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, and Brazil are just a few of the Amazon basin countries where you can see Amazonian manatees. Their natural habitats include lush aquatic vegetation, deep linkages to large rivers, and bodies of water such as oxbows, lagoons, and blackwater lakes. These monsters would never deliberately harm another living thing. They are the epitome of a mild giant. Unfortunately, they are now a threatened species due to the fact that humans have hunted them for a long period. Furthermore, their population numbers are difficult to track, thus the exact number of them remains a mystery. Number 18. Karoo Fish. This is not some made-up fish. Yes, it does exist, and for some animals, it poses a serious threat. This is due to the fact that these fish are parasites, meaning that they feed on the blood of other fish by attaching themselves to them through their gills. Ironically, not only is this established, but they also have the means to make it happen, thanks to their relatively little stature. Their frames may literally burrow into host bodies so that they can do their thing, and they can grow as big as 40 seamounts, but they can also be considerably smaller than that. That is horrific in and of itself, but it is not the primary purpose of our visit. The fish is on this list because, according to urban mythology, they were infecting people by swimming up the male reproductive channel, if you get my meaning. The legend goes that they would enter a host organism through an organ and then sail downstream on the current of their own pee. Because the story went viral, this fish became the most feared predator in the world. You shouldn't be too worried about this happening to you, though, because there have never been any verified instances of it. Plus, let's just say it's scientifically implausible that one could ride the urine stream of another. That concludes our tour of the Amazon and its many magnificent inhabitants, as well as the reasons behind their hideous appearance. Number 17. The Black Cayman. In the Amazon, crocodiles and alligators flourish in an ideal environment, for sure, but also no. Though we aren't formally discussing either of those things here, it is undeniably a great spot for them to rule the local fauna. The Black Cayman, on the other hand, is a crocodile. There is no Amazonian ecology without the Black Cayman, the biggest predator there. This predator has the ability to devour any animal within its range, even other predators. For the record, we're referring to the biggest snake, not the longest, since the latter would go to a specific snake mentioned earlier in the movie. However, you should be wary of the caiman because it is so dangerous that it can attack anything or anyone in this enormous rainforest. And just in case you were wondering, the Black Cayman has attacked humans before and will attack again. Its stated goal is to exterminate humanity from this planet. Its ability to blend in with the local waters, thanks to its dark skin tone, makes it one of the most dangerous creatures on our list. Because it hunts at night, it blends in flawlessly with its surroundings, allowing it to sneak up on its victim, unaware that danger lurks right next to them. Also, contrary to popular belief, these hideous creatures are perfectly capable of capturing any kind of food. They just don't bite it to death. Instead, in a cruel twist of fate, they will seize the animal, drag it into the water, and then slowly eat it until it drowns. Be cautious around Cayman-inhabited waters at all times of day and night, as its whereabouts are usually unknown until it's too late. Number 16. The Giant Anteater. Even a little ant would think the enormous anteater was terrifying, but should we humans be scared? What you fear is subjective and depends on your definition of a monster. One example is the giant anteater, which is known to be as large as a golden retriever and is considered a true giant among its relatives. Its olfactory perception is second to none, and it even surpasses that of humans, which could be terrifying. Now that it's 40 times stronger than the typical person realizes, it can locate all those anthills that it enjoys snacking on with ease. What makes this interesting is that it won't devour the colony indefinitely. The species may feast for a minute or two while it is caught off guard, but then it goes on because it is genuinely susceptible to ant bites. Number 15. The Electric Eel. Now let's move on to another iconic river monster, which poses a tremendous threat, yet might not actually be as lethal as you think. In terms of its power, the electric eel is exactly what it is supposed to be. In case you were wondering, it has organs inside its body that can store electrical energy and then discharge it at 650 volts, which, just so you know, is more than the voltage in your average power outlet. That discharge, according to some, can reach voltages of more than 800 volts. This aquatic creature, which is not technically an eel, employs an electrical charge that it amplifies in order to frighten or kill its enemies. Is it therefore capable of killing humans? Well, one wouldn't say that. Not even provoked will it attack a human. A good jolt at most would be enough to temporarily stun you, even while you're completely buried in water and in bad health. Number 14. The Giant Stingray. Be warned, this enormous beast poses a real threat to human safety if you aren't cautious. The huge stingray, on the other hand, is typically a solitary fish that prefers to swim alone in rivers and other waterways. The largest stingray ever captured was 4 meters long and more than 300 kilograms in weight. This enormous fish was caught in Asia, not South America. So, the length of the stinger is something you can only guess at. Just so we're clear, the stinger is definitely something to be afraid of. Additionally, it contains chemicals that might cause harm to humans. Yet these organisms are not hostile. You won't have to worry about it hurting you if you stay away from them. The moral of the story is to use your brain and everything will work out fine until you mess up. The stinger will pierce your flesh and, in certain cases, even your bones. Number 13. Green Anaconda. After all, snakes are pretty safe bets. Even Indiana Jones finds them repulsive. Therefore, why should anybody else? Plus, the snake we are about to describe isn't your average rat snake. It is the enormous green anaconda, a gigantic serpent that ranks among the world's largest and heaviest in terms of body mass. The snake in question is capable of reaching lengths of over 7 meters and weights of about 277 kilograms on occasion. The irony is that most of those green anaconda measurements are derived from specimens that have already been captured and measured. Therefore, it's not out of the question that there could be ones that are larger, longer, and heavier yet undiscovered. However, their monstrousness is truly enhanced by the fact that they are apex predators, meaning that they are not threatened by any natural enemies. This freedom allows them to devour anything they like, and the results are quite unsettling. You see, these snakes are known to devour their victims whole. They're perfectly capable of doing so, regardless of how big the prey is compared to their mouths, will be to dislocate their mouth in order to stuff themselves with food. A large belly bulge indicates that the animal has just eaten and is digesting its food very slowly, so keep that in mind if you come across one of these in the Amazon. Its monstrousness is further enhanced by the fact that it can forage for food from trees, as well as land and waterways. Everything is within this snake's grasp, Even if you were to travel to the Amazon at this very moment, you wouldn't have to worry about this snake attacking you because, fortunately, they don't eat humans. Number 12. Arapima. When fully grown, an Arapima can reach a length of about 3 meters, making it the largest freshwater fish in the world. If you were to catch one of these fish, the saying, "that's a big catch," would certainly fit. However, it is not a monster because of its length. It is certainly beneficial. However, its hideous appearance is due to its armor. Indeed, that fish has armor. Underneath the mineralized, hard outer layer of its scales, which has a corrugated appearance, are numerous layers of collagen fibers arranged in some manner. So, its scales can harden its exterior to a level comparable to, or even harder than, plywood. With all that armor on it, it still manages to be remarkably nimble and agile in the water. 20. Massive river otter. It may live in fresh water, but it must constantly come to the surface to breathe the surface oxygen. Number 11. The giant river otter. Here we will shift our focus to a creature that, in comparison to many of the others we will be talking about, is actually rather cute. However, it is on the verge of extinction because humans labeled it a monster. This is the giant river otter. They are, in fact, enormous. It is the largest member of the otter family, reaching a maximum length of 1.8 meters when fully grown. However, their social structure is well developed, and they pose less of a danger than is commonly believed. However, was that enough to prevent their capture? The otter's pelts were precious. Thus, people hunted them in vast quantities for that reason. At one point, they were hunted only because they were a nuisance. So that's why they made it online in the end. Number 10. Jaguars. The presence of a big cat, or maybe several, in the Amazon rainforest is, of course, not shocking. One interesting fact is that the Americas are home to no other large cats but jaguars. Just so you know where you stand, the jaguar is third in size among cats, after only tigers and lions. There is a marked difference between their behavior and hunting styles, and those of the two large cats up above. In contrast to tigers and lions, they lead lonely lives. They are not proud, they hunt alone, and they can swim well and are excellent swimmers and hunters. This allows them to reign supreme as Amazonian predators, and, when they feel very daring, to hunt down other predators. Their strong jaws and slender bodies allow them to swiftly reach their targets and kill them with a single bite. Put simply, if you happen to cross paths with one, you should avoid messing with them. Number 9. Giant Armadillo. A gigantic armadillo isn't exactly a cause for frequent panic attacks. Why, therefore, is it included here? The title features a gigantic creature, therefore that's why. Indeed, monsters in this place require stricter regulations. What is the armadillo's size? Actually, it's capable of reaching a weight of 54 kilograms and a length of 100 centimeters. Being a big boy, it is. But, as I said before, its size shouldn't make you scared of it. As an example, a termite mound can be devoured whole by a huge armadillo, which typically feeds on termites and a few types of ants. Compared to the anteater, it is thus somewhat more aggressive. That should give you some idea of its hunger levels and the conditions under which it feels satisfied. Number 8. The tapir. Coming up next is a beast that, to be honest, we aren't convinced deserves the nickname monster, but it's still worth keeping an eye out for. Over the course of millions of years, the tapir has evolved into its modern form. So far as that is concerned, not much has changed throughout that period. Because it hasn't evolved like the rest of Earth's species, it can be considered a primitive creature. Having said that, you must not make fun of this beast just because it is lengthy and heavy. Its maximum weight is 400 kilograms, and its length can exceed 2 meters. Therefore, it most certainly has mass. Although they are frequently preyed upon by local predators such as crocodiles and big cats, they are able to fend off their attackers with their formidable bites and exceptionally strong hides. Despite their rudimentary appearance, these creatures are vital to the rainforest environment and have mastered the art of survival. You definitely need to have your humanity tested if you're the kind to go about calling capybaras monsters. Of course, they are rodents, but a fascinating kind of rodent. In fact, they make wonderful pets. At 60 centimeters in height and sporting those timeless expressions that give them the upper hand, the capybara is currently the largest rodent on the planet. Nothing can compare to this monstrosity, not even rats in New York City. Because they feed on aquatic plants and grasses and seek refuge on the water's edge, capybaras rely on water for survival. Plus, they can stay underwater for a few minutes in the event of a fear attack, allowing their attacker to become bored and flee. Capybaras are really quite popular as exotic pets, which goes to show that not everyone views them as monsters. Although they are gregarious creatures that struggle when left alone, you will likely need to purchase a pair at a time. Number 6. The Amazon River Dolphin. Now, you might think of dolphins as not living in a river, but there are plenty of them who do. And the Amazon River dolphin is the large one that resides in the Amazon's water. They are, in fact, over 2.4 meters in length and can sometimes be a rather pinkish color. Not something that you would expect from a dolphin, but there it is. The real monsters here are, once again, humanity who have not been taking care of the rivers that these dolphins live in, and as a result, their population numbers are in decline. Now it's time for our subscriber pick. Lurking in the murky depths of the Nile River, a colossal crocodile glides unseen. This isn't just any crocodile, though. Nicknamed Big Brutus by the local fishermen, this croc is a legend. Legends are a big trouble for Nile crocodile expert Dr. Angela Petrova. Angela has dedicated her career to studying and protecting these majestic reptiles. But Big Brutus is spooking the tourists and hampering conservation efforts. Tourists are canceling cruises left and right, convinced they'll end up as a prehistoric snack. Angela needs to find Brutus and prove he's not the monster everyone thinks he is. The problem is, no one has ever actually seen Brutus. There's only blurry phone pictures and wild fishermen's tales. Angela decides to use her expertise to lure Brutus out of hiding. She designs a special bait, a combination of his favorite food and scientific sonar technology. It's a risky plan, but it works. A massive head breaks the water's surface. It is Brutus, and he is enormous. But as Angela gets a closer look, she realizes something is wrong. Brutus is covered in scars, and his movements are sluggish. Angela knows what she has to do. She carefully approaches Brutus and manages to treat his wounds. Brutus isn't a monster. He's an injured animal just trying to survive. The news of Angela saving Brutus is a sensation. Tourists flock back to the Nile, eager to see the gentle giant they once feared. Angela uses this opportunity to educate the public about the importance of crocodile conservation. Brutus becomes an ambassador for his kind, showing the world that crocodiles are more than just scary reptiles. They're a vital part of the Nile ecosystem, and they deserve our respect and protection. What are your thoughts? Let us know in the comments. Number 5. Redbellied Piranha. What could be more terrifying than a piranha? The most terrifying of the river creatures that inhabit the Amazon. You may be familiar with the negative portrayal of these characters in film and television, but you could be shocked. Although piranhas pose a threat and can be rather frightening in large schools, species such as the red-bellied piranha are not necessarily something to be afraid of every day. While they may display violent behavior when it comes to food, it's important to note that they are actually omnivores, not carnivores. Even though it may come as a surprise, they are perfectly content to eat plant-based foods rather than pursuing any type of meat. But that's not even the most peculiar part. Because they are more akin to scavengers than full-on hungry hunters, these aquatic predators have earned the nickname vultures of the water. What's more, they don't always go after meat. To top it all off, they often exclusively prey on creatures that are near death or near death. That way, they can savor their food without worrying about being interrupted or misplaced. And just in case you needed more convincing, piranhas don't actually eat in packs, despite how films portray them. Individual piranhas can consume whole humans in an instant. When threatened, red-bellied piranhas will only defend themselves in schools. Nature and popular culture are similar in that regard. You can't expect them to complement each other. Unlike sharks, piranhas have long been the subject of exaggerated portrayals of their personalities and habits. Because of this, people will be overly afraid of them when they really need to be wary. While it's true that you shouldn't provoke a piranha, it's also unnecessary to constantly scan the water or have your guard up in the event that one decides to pounce on your boat. Number 4. The green iguana. The green iguana might not seem like it belongs on an Amazon monster list at first, but like anything else, there are ways for something seemingly harmless to turn into something really dangerous. While the green iguana has a reputation for being docile and a popular pet, it is also one of the most destructive invasive animals in the Americas. Invasive species abound in Florida because humans bring in exotic animals and then release them into the wild. This is something you might recall from your history. Of such creatures, the green iguana was a member. It is so invasive in Florida that some people's occupations require them to gently exterminate iguanas so they don't reproduce. Give that some thought. Oh, and in case you were wondering, it was truly featured on Mike Rowe's Dirty Jobs. Number 3. The golden poison dart frog. Now, it's not often that we get to discuss the dangers of frogs, but even if you want to get all biblical and mention specific plagues, it wasn't a fatal thing. The Egyptians found it extremely frustrating. However, something concerning can be found with every species due to the unpredictable nature of nature. Also, the golden poison dart frog, also known as the poison dart frog, is an extremely dangerous animal that you should never, ever touch. This is due to the fact that their skin is covered in a very lethal toxin that is produced by their bodies. So, in the event that their predators consider pursuing them, the frog can end the matter amicably by poisoning them with a touch, or, failing that, letting the poison devour them from the inside out. Oddly enough, no one knows how the frog maintains immunity to its own poison, despite the fact that it is so lethal. It probably developed an immunity to its own self-defense mechanism so it can emit it without being eaten. The native inhabitants of Colombia discovered the lethal toxin, killed the frogs in a safe way, and then placed the poison on the ends of their darts, which is why the frog is known as the golden poison dart frog. Hitting their victim with the point was all it took to bring them down. That ought to provide some further measure of its efficacy. Do yourself a favor and stay away from any golden frogs you may encounter in the Colombian Amazon rainforest. Doing so might add years to your life expectancy. Number 2. The Goliath bird-eater tarantula. Why are we finally getting to spiders after going through the whole list? Of course, they are just spiders, right? That automatically labels them as monsters, doesn't it? Yes, it is the largest spider in the world in terms of mass, reaching a maximum length of 13 centimeters and a weight of approximately 6.2 ounces. As ironic as it may seem, it actually doesn't consume birds very frequently. The fact that it has been observed preying on hummingbirds suggests that this is not an insurmountable obstacle. Number 1. The spectacled bear. Bears do in fact inhabit the Amazon jungle, but seeing a spectacled bear would be a truly remarkable experience, as it is the sole endemic species to South America. People have different opinions about spectacled bears because, well, they are bears. Despite being an omnivore and not hostile towards humans unless threatened, people continue to hunt them because they are afraid they would attack their cattle. To their credit, conservationists have taken action to stop the poaching of this bear. Which creature did we miss out on? Let us know in the comments. Smash that like button if you found this video interesting. Also, click on the video showing up on the screen now to catch up on our previous videos.